So thank you very much. My name is Sambasivan. I am the CFO of Tata Play. So I joined this company about 12 years back in 2013. I had come from UK at that time. I came back to India and I joined this company. So this was starting point of that industry actually. The company started in 2006. So it was a 7-year-old company. Now we are a 20-year-old company with our anniversary coming up actually tomorrow, 8th of August. So it's just one day before the 20th anniversary of the company, 19-year, 2006 to 2025. So the last, I think, 12 years, we have journeyed a lot, both as an industry as well as the company. Industry is one of the roller coaster kind of an industry. Many people may ask me suddenly whenever I meet any of my old friends, they keep asking me, are people still watching television? So I say yes, because in general in the urban markets, people are moving towards OTT and therefore their television viewing habits are changing in a very big way. Having said that, we don't realize that India is a country still with 600,000 villages. And still television is a luxury item and it's an ambition for many of those households. And we may be very surprised when we hear that 40% of India does not own television. 40%, let that sink in. 40% of India does not even own a television, but they own mobile phones. So today what is happening is that people make do with mobile phones in the absence of money to purchase television. In fact, my boss Harit keeps saying, one of the first investments in any of the rural houses is not a refrigerator, is not a motorcycle, is not any other household goods. It's not air conditioner, it is television in many households in rural. So yes, industry is going through kind of a change, but we as a company, we still believe that there is enough runway in the market for us to grow as an industry, and things will keep changing. Having said that, we also have our pie in the OTT business, and both in India and abroad. We have a product called Binge, and that is doing well. And a lot of people who are watching OTT are still continuing to grow well. And we have some PaaS, that is Platform as a Service business outside India as well, which I believe is doing well. We have tied up with a few countries, and that business is growing. The basic difference between India and other countries in this DTH industry is a cost factor. Typically, people charge something like $50, $60, $70 is quite normal. When I say $50, it is like more than 4,250 rupees in today's conversion rate. That's quite normal for people to pay. And there, the cost of shifting, for example, if you are watching direct to home and suddenly you get a subscription for Netflix at $9, from a $50 to $9, the movement is very fast. So globally, DTH industry is going through very, very tough time. In India also it is going through, but economy is not the reason. Economic reason is not there. Because already our ARPU is hardly $2.5 to $3. With a $3 ARPU and with the competition of OTT is slightly more expensive. Plus you also need to have internet connectivity. So you have to add that cost also. If I add both, it will be more than the cost of watching television, watching say 200 channels with 24/7. It makes a lot of sense to be in the DTH industry than in OTT industry. So that's the fundamental difference. And we have been the market leader for the last so many years, and I would say that we continue to enjoy customer satisfaction, customer delight. Our net promoter scores have been one of the best in the industry, even across industries. The customer satisfaction scores are the highest, and our products are also seen as one of the best products available in the market within the industry. So that way, within the industry, I think we have a good run so far. So this is a very important question which you have been, I think, working on for the last 5 to 6 years now. So when the industry started having a downturn, till 2020 the industry was growing very, very well. The so-called, what my boss used to say, it's a winter. The winter is a little longer for 5 years now. So any industry which is say 20, 30 years old, there will always be a summer and winter. So our industry is now going through a winter season, but the winter is a little longer. So we believe that summer is around the corner any which way. So till that time, when winter continues, so we have said that we'll keep our heads down and focus on what you can say, OPEX efficiencies, cost efficiencies, CAPEX efficiencies, focusing on quality of customers, focusing on ARPU, focusing on return on investment. So we have been a little, I would say, very, very strong in terms of looking at these costs. So much so, we have kept the cost under leash for the last 6 years. So mostly our overheads have been flat for the last 6 years, which is quite an achievement, I would say. So we have kept our cost and CAPEX under control. When we know that when the summer happens, then we are in a good place to grow our business well. So again, this is a very good question. As I mentioned earlier, that we are now focusing on operational efficiency. So every function we work on some kind of targets towards optimization. I personally believe that 5% of any cost can be reduced in a year's time. Given a year's time, by using artificial intelligence, using technology, using RPA, using root cause analysis, there are many techniques which are available through which at least 5%, if not more, of cost can be reduced of any line item. Just to give an example, say in 2016-2017, we had worked on a customer initiative called Customer Discovery, where we focused on what are the reasons why the customers are calling the call center. So every call costs a lot of money. So we looked at the reasons for the call. We identified almost 200 action areas as to the reasons for customers calling the call center. If we remove the costs for the calling of the call center, then you are eliminating a particular activity completely. So we worked relentlessly, and every year we do this customer discovery. So we brought, I think the customer service function brought almost 80% reduction in the reason for calling. So when you are talking about 80% reduction reason, the cost comes down drastically, right? So today what we will be spending is a fraction of what we were spending, say 10 years back. It's thanks to root cause analysis. Here I am not talking automation. Here we are talking about eliminating the reason for customer calling. If you don't have a problem, why would you call me? For example, if you make a recharge through mobile app and that recharge there is failure. If there is a failure, it could be various reasons. Then if you get into the reason as to whether it's a bank's failure, whether it's a company's failure, whether it's an intermediary failure, you analyze the reasons and get into the root cause analysis. There are many ways. You do Six Sigma approach, you do 5 Whys approach, there are many approaches, and you bring it down. So just one example. So likewise, there are many examples, which is why our costs are very much under control, and it's a journey, right? So there is no end to optimization. That's what I feel. Whatever is optimized, we can further optimize. So we did some study around, I think 5 years back, where our function was benchmarked against global finance functions. And we came out as one of the best in terms of the cost to revenue ratio. We are far less than about 1%. So there's a metric where it says that what is the cost of the finance function. When I say cost of the finance function, the cost of all the people's salary to the proportion of the revenues. So we were less than 0.5% or 0.2% or something, 0.3%. So it is one of the best, I would say, in the industry. Our cost of finance function as a percentage of the total revenues was one of the lowest. And that also did not happen by accident. So when I started, we had, say, X number of people. At the time, most of the processes were, I would say, manual. Meaning people were doing everything and they were working for longer hours. And even month ends used to be kind of a nightmare. You have to prepare the results and submit to the management, submit to the leadership, submit to the board. It took us anywhere between say 10 to 15 days. So till the 14th or 15th of the month, the results were not ready because of the manual nature of operations. So now fast forward 10 years down the line now we are on day one. Meaning we achieved day one in 2019, meaning within 6 years. From that 15th working day, we reached to day one. Again, it's a function of automation, function of operational efficiency, function of people being nimble-footed. So it's a continuous process. So we have done, if I were to start the journey, the first year was year of automation, 2014. Then 2015 was, we called it as the year of outsourcing. So whatever were the non-core activities, meaning those activities where you do not require too much of thinking and analytical work, you can outsource to experts. Once you outsource to experts, what it leaves you with is the team can do analysis. The team has to upskill and then start doing analytics. So instead of doing the routine, mundane jobs, which is all outsourced. Then we got into 2017, we got into this RPA bandwagon. So I remember there was a conference which I think one of the big four launched in Bangalore. So they invited us and 4 of us went there. So that was the first of such conferences where they were actually talking about RPA becoming big in India. So before that, RPA was not a big topic 8 years back. So this was the first such conference. And after that conference got over, we started building some use cases. We tied up with another one of the big guys in automation in RPA. It's a global company, and we got some solutions and we implemented slowly. Then it's a journey. We started working on RPA and then we moved to AI and ML in 2020, 2021. Now we are into predictive modeling, now we are into Gen AI, now we are into agentic AI. As we speak today, we have gone through the journey and we are continuously working on the journey, which is why we are able to even complete our results on day one, and even the what you can say leadership meeting, which normally happens around 15th of the month. We were able to complete on the second day of the month, second working day of the month. This is a remarkable achievement. In 2014, we started the year of automation, and from then onwards, we have been continuously doing. We have a culture of project management. We have a concept called must-to-do projects and good-to-do projects. So every year, at the beginning of the financial year, the leadership team, finance leadership team, about 6-7 of us sit together and say, these are the 20 projects we need to work on for the next year. These are not operational day-to-day projects. These are mainly focused around automation, process improvement, process efficiency, or revenue enhancement, or even people enrichment. So these are the 5 categories within which we bucketize those projects. So over the last 5-6 years, I was just looking at it last week, we have implemented 153 of those projects. Out of 153, I think more than 36 projects, I think 36 or 37 projects were automation related. So when you implement so many projects on automation across all the functions, things are bound to improve. And every one project will save a few man hours, a few thousands of man hours and all. That is one part. Second part is that last year, we came with this new idea called a digital transformation team, in terms of creating a team of people who will be working on only these kind of automation projects by talking to the individuals in the function and asking them what will make your life easier. The goal of DTT is that making life easier for everyone. That is the objective of this team of 5 people. They went around talking to each team member. Then they created some 20 projects which was demanded by the team members. Something maybe saving, say, 1,000 man hours, 500 man hours, like that. So they worked on those projects and they delivered in the 1 year period. So as we speak, now this team has gone to other functions and we are now delivering projects we already delivered projects for customer operations. We have delivered projects for communications team. In fact, day before yesterday, I had a meeting with the legal team. They have given us some 3-4 projects. Now their order book is full, at least for the next 6 months. So this way, automation has helped us in a big way of crunching the timelines. As regards the tools, we are using many tools. One, we are the first to implement agentic AI in Asia Pacific in supply chain use case. This use case is all about negotiating with the vendor and making the purchase order. Entire thing is done by AI. What we did was, we said, okay, let us take some low value items and we have what you can say an e-bidding process. So if there are, say, 4 vendors which is selected, the system will automatically write mails to them and you can converse through the mails and it can give you question answer, kind of like a chat bot. Based on all the feedback, then the quotes are also received through the chatbots, and the system itself will evaluate and prepare the pros and cons and give us a recommendation as to which of these 4 vendors you should place the order with. The human being has to say yes, that's all. It will have to just press a button, then the order is released. So it saves a lot of human intervention in terms of, and this is the first in Asia Pacific. We have implemented it recently, quite recently. So, and it's been, I think, being talked about in many places also. So this is one. Likewise, we are also using some tools called Alteryx. There's a tool called Alteryx which is used in internal audit. Then there's a tool called EasyML, which is also being used for churn prediction and for quality of subscription. There are then Power BI. There are many tools which you are using. These are some things which are coming to my mind immediately. And the other important benefit which you are getting is that our audit reports are becoming more and more benign. For example, 10 years back, 5 years back, the quantity of the issues which we were facing, none of them is there now. And it's quite good that the audit committee meetings also happen in a much faster way. If in the past it used to take, say, 2-3 hours for a meeting, now it gets over in 20 minutes. So as I mentioned earlier, we are not a listed company, which means that we don't have any requirement, legal requirement or a company's act requirement for doing an ESG or a BRSR, business reporting and sustainability reporting. Business responsibility and sustainability reporting is not required to be done. Having said that, way back in 2021, we started work on ESG reporting. We started creating that BRSR report, and even last week only we finalized the third such report for the last year. And it was gratifying to see that even though it is voluntary, we have been doing a lot more work around removing the carbon footprint, reducing the carbon footprint, increasing the use of renewable energy resources. There's so many things which voluntarily we are doing, or usage of electric vehicles, or usage of like solar plants, solar energy. So there are many areas where we have evaluated and assessed. We have an ESG reporting person within the finance team. That person collects the data on a monthly basis and prepares a report. We have an ESG scorecard, and this is getting circulated to the leadership team also. So while we are not mandated to adopt ESG practices, now whenever we get listed at some future date, this will all come in, and the practice of ESG is continuing. So that's a good thing, I would say. In fact, we are also reporting internally to Tata Sons about our ESG reporting, and they also keep telling us you are punching much above your weight. Because even though you are not, see, things which are not mandated, people don't do in compliance. So here we are doing something which is not mandated, that too with a lot of rigor and vigor. Yeah, we do have some internal goals. Yes, we say that, okay, for example, if there is a carbon footprint of X, we reduce it. If there is a renewable energy resources of X, we have a target to go to Y. And if you look at our data in the last 3 years, we have been improving slowly. So we do have internal, for example, our board, the composition of the board. Even though some things are not mandated, we still have those women directors, we still have those independent directors, which is meant for public limited companies, but we use the same guidance for our internal processing also. So we are kind of governed like a public listed company only from our internal governance perspective. It's a great question. Actually, so I'm a big believer of people being an asset. If you look at my LinkedIn post also, you'll see I believe that people are the greatest asset in any organization, which I had written some 25 years back. I have not changed it even today because the belief still remains. So coming back to what you said, business partnering. So we have a stated finance strategy, which has kind of remained unchanged for the last 6 years now. So it has got 4 parts. Finance has to become a good business partner using latest technologies and become good at data analytics and insights and excel in storytelling. So these are the 4 operating pillars: business partnering, latest technology, data analytics insights, storytelling. So I will talk of each of these things. Every employee needs to build each one of these skill sets. For example, if you have to become a business partner, you have to understand the business well. So we have a culture of people going to various places and understanding how business really works. So we encourage our team members to travel to various places, like travel to Bangalore and see how IT works, travel to Delhi and see how technology works, travel to various places, travel to the market and see how the customers behave, what do the dealers say, that's quite natural for our finance team to travel. I personally do travel. That is one. You have to be a master of the business to become a good business partner. Then only people will listen to you. If you don't understand the business and you understand only finance, whatever you say will be seen with finance eye and will not be seen with the business eye. Second is latest technologies. I personally believe in using all the latest technologies. As I mentioned, that our journey on automation, AI, agentic AI and all those things. So we have an internal process of continuously learning. So for example, last year we launched a program called PAL. PAL is Project AI Literacy. So this was basically to create a study material for each one of the team members so that they can become proficient in AI. And this was a curriculum prepared. We prepared 23 modules or 24 modules and people had to study that, write projects, they participated in competition. So it's done for all the finance team members. So at least at the end of 1 year, now they have more than a superficial knowledge of what AI is all about. So that is latest technologies. Third is data analytics and insights. As you would know, finance is the custodian of all the data coming across the organization. So when we have the leadership review, when I talked about day 2, we had this leadership review. The entire presentation or the entire dashboards are presented from the laptop of the finance team member, because they are supposed to be the custodian of all the data and all the KPIs across the organization. And it is all fully automated, which means that when the presentation is happening, it will be in a dashboard. And suddenly if my boss wants to know what has happened same day last month, you have to just click a button and it will show the data. It is like a live dashboard, so that you can do whatever analytics while the meeting is happening. So that way it becomes easier for any analysis, right? You can go deeper and deeper and deeper at any level. And the last one is storytelling, which is all about communication and synthesizing. How you communicate the data and insights, so that there are 3 things which I look for in any presentation. What is the data telling? Why is it happening? And so what? All 3 have to be there in the storytelling. Without these 3 aspects, your presentation is not complete. Just saying what is there, we don't stop there. Then why? Then go into so what? I'm not here for general knowledge. I need to know, can some action be taken based on some events which are happening caused by some other event? So that so what question is equally important. So once you do all these things, you are in a good place to influence the decisions made by the leadership team. And we believe that we are supposed to be the myth busters of the organization. There are certain age-old myths we will keep in our mind, saying that this is the way things operate, this is how it will be. So you have to use the data and storytelling to break those myths. Yeah, so I believe in upskilling. So in fact, I don't remember the last time when I recruited anybody, for example. Fortunately, I have a team whose longevity in the company is very, very high. For example, if the average age of our entire organization, which is nearly 1400, is say X number of years, the average age of finance team is 2X plus. So, which tells you a story in itself. So therefore, we are very careful while recruiting, and we also grow the people very well. Meaning that because of all these things which we have, I have a personal one-to-one equation with everybody. Individually I have, and I talk to them at least twice a year on a one-to-one basis, formally. I have a calendarized invite every October and April. I have to talk to each of them. So, which is outside of work-related things, and just keep them motivated. It's a question of continuous communication, continuous motivation and those things. And our employee engagement score is also the highest within the organization. And when I joined in, it was 52, now it is 91. So it's in the last 12 years, things have moved in a positive. Yeah, so I always believed in business partnering, even in my previous organization, because I believed that you have to understand the business. Once you understand the business, partnering becomes easier. If I go to the market and go for 10 days in the market and come back and say this is what the customers are saying or this is what the dealers are saying, I'm not talking from a third party experience. I'm not talking from reading a research report. I'm talking from my meeting them 250 dealers and these things, and people will give some weightage to that because I put in that effort to spend that much time in the market, right? So then it's easier. But you have to go to the market. Sitting in one place and getting the reports, you never get to know what the rural market customer is talking. You will never know. So I personally believe that you have to be in the market. And in my past, I have been CEO of companies also. So I have done those roles. So it comes. It's not very difficult for me to go to the market actually. So the resistance will come in once if you are an armchair commentator. If you keep talking about, okay, this is what we should do to the customer without you going and finding out what the customer is saying, just by reading some reports, then there would be resistance. But if you yourself are going and which is confirming some things, then even if they go to the market, it will be the same thing, right? Anybody, so there won't be any resistance. Understanding the business is the core. Once you, and not only your understanding of the business should be also communicated in a way the other person understands that you have understood the business.